It was just another high-speed evening run to Santiago de Compostela, with commuters, families, and tourists all trusting the routine. But barely 4 kilometers from their destination, a missing safeguard and a single human distraction would bring normal life to the brink of catastrophe. How could one ordinary journey unravel so quickly? And what did Spain and the world overlook until it was too late? The evening train from Madrid to Galicia carried a quiet sense of routine. Families settled into their seats, children gazing at tablets or pressed to the window, watching the countryside blur past. Commuters scrolled through messages or closed their eyes, the hum of the rails familiar after long days in the city. Tourists, some with guidebooks open, traced their routes to Santiago de Compostela, a city steeped in centuries of pilgrimage and tradition. The carriages echoed with low conversations, the shuffle of bags overhead, the muted clink of coffee cups from the onboard service. The Alvia service had become a symbol of modern travel in Spain, a blend of speed and comfort, linking distant cities in a matter of hours. For many, this was just another leg of a weekly routine, a predictable journey home or onward to summer holidays. The train's hybrid design allowed it to glide at high speed across new rails, then shift seamlessly onto older tracks, a technical feat that passengers rarely noticed. Outside, the landscape opened wide, fields and hills rolling past in the fading light. The sense of movement was constant and reassuring. The train's long, straight run before Santiago invited a calm confidence, the kind that makes time slip by unnoticed. People read, napped, or watched the sun dip lower, trusting the rhythm they had come to expect. There was nothing remarkable about this evening's ride. No warnings, no hint of trouble. Each passenger was wrapped in the small details of their own journey: plans for arrival, messages to send, stories to share once they stepped onto the platform. The train, a 13-car link between past and present, pressed on toward its destination, carrying the quiet burdens and hopes of over 200 lives. In the space between stations, normal life held steady, untouched by anything but the sound of wheels on steel. Beyond the comfort of the open countryside, the tracks ahead demanded a sudden, drastic change. The Alvia train, designed to move effortlessly between modern high-speed rails and older lines, was approaching a section that broke the rhythm of its journey, a sharp left curve known as a grandera. For kilometers, speed had been the rule, the landscape blurring in the streaks of twilight. But just 4 kilometers from Santiago de Compostela, the rails bent tightly, forcing a speed limit less than half of what the train had just been traveling. On paper, the curve was no secret. Its design required a sharp reduction in speed, a fact known to every driver and marked in every manual. Yet, in practice, the transition left little room for error. The change from open, forgiving straightaway to this unforgiving geometry was abrupt. The rails themselves seemed to warn nothing until the very last moment, when the curve's concrete walls loomed into view. Unlike other stretches of the route, this section lacked the invisible hand of automated enforcement. The advanced safety system that could have intervened to slow the train automatically if it approached too fast was not active here. Instead, the responsibility fell entirely to the person at the controls. There was no automated brake to catch a missed signal, no computer to override a late reaction. Only a legacy system remained, one that could alert, but not act, leaving the final decision to human judgment. The vulnerability in the system was hidden in plain sight. On most of the journey, technology quietly guarded against disaster. Here, that safety net was missing, replaced by a silent expectation that nothing would go wrong. The curve waited, unchanged by the passing of hundreds of trains before, its danger masked by routine and the assumption that the rules of speed would always be obeyed. The hazard was not in the machinery, but in the space where human fallibility met a moment of inattention, a gap that would soon prove devastating. At 2041, the Alvia train approached the A Grandera curve at 179 kilometers per hour, almost double the posted limit of 80. The onboard black box recorded the moment the brakes were engaged, just 250 meters before the bend. There was no time to slow a 13-car train carrying over 200 people. 4 seconds later, the lead generator car left the rails, dragging the rest of the train into disaster. Each carriage followed, metal screeching against concrete, bodies thrown from seats, luggage and glass erupting into the air. The force of the derailment tore carriages apart, some overturning, others crushed against the retaining walls. Diesel from the generator cars ignited, sending flames through the wreckage. The violence of the crash was total and immediate. Structures built for speed and comfort now twisted and broken. In the space of a heartbeat, routine was erased by physics and momentum. The train's momentum, unchecked by technology or human hand, turned a familiar journey into chaos, leaving only the aftermath in its wake. When the train finally came to rest, a heavy silence fell over the wreckage. In the moments after the crash, the first to reach the scene were not emergency crews, but residents from the nearby Angrois neighborhood. Drawn by the sound and the smoke, they ran toward the twisted carriages, carrying only flashlights, blankets, and a determination to help. Some climbed over broken rails and debris to reach survivors trapped inside, working side by side with strangers in the fading light. Others used their own cars to ferry the injured to hospitals before ambulances could arrive. Within minutes, the scale of the disaster became clear. Dozens lay injured on the embankment and along the tracks, many unable to move. 79 people would lose their lives that night, and nearly 140 others would be treated for injuries, some minor, many severe. The quiet of the summer evening had been shattered, replaced by the sounds of sirens, hurried voices, and the cries of survivors calling out for loved ones. As official responders took over, the people of Angrois stayed, offering water, comfort, and whatever help they could. In the shadow of tragedy, their actions brought a measure of hope to a scene defined by loss. Francisco José Garzón Amo, the driver that night, had made this run dozens of times. As the train sped toward Santiago, his attention was split. He was on a professional call with Renfe's controller, discussing the next leg of the route. The run felt routine, and that routine mattered. Black box data later confirmed that in those critical minutes, he consulted a paper map while the train hurtled forward. The warning system in place, ASFA, could only alert, not intervene. The more advanced safeguard, ETCS, had been deactivated since June 2012 after technical complaints about delays and false triggers. A DIF, responsible for infrastructure, and Renfe, the operator, agreed to keep ETCS off even after a software fix became available in March 2013. That decision left automation offline. For over 2 years, this stretch of track relied on human vigilance alone. The call ended seconds before the curve, but by then, too little time remained. Legal proceedings would later dissect these choices, asking why the automated system stayed offline, why operational convenience outweighed risk, and how a single moment of distraction could slip through the gaps left by policy. In August 2014, ETCS was finally reactivated along this section, but the consequences of that long absence had already been written into history. Today, rail networks worldwide still wrestle with balancing efficiency and fail-safe protections. Every day, millions trust that lessons have been learned. But as automation expands, one hard fact remains. Technology only protects us when we choose to activate it. The cost of complacency is never hypothetical.